Welcome to It's Debatable, the show where we debate anything and everything just for the sake of arguing. My name's Doug, and as always, I am debating my rival, my contender, my enemy, Steven Schramm. How are you, Schramm?
Dude, you forgot friend. Like, we could be rivals, contenders, but friends as well.
Not today.
All right.
And as always, we have our producer, our engineer extraordinaire, Jeffrey Scott William Poland III. Jeff, how are you?
I am wonderful, Doug.
Wow. It's a holiday season. How can you not be?
How could you not be?
Would you say Schramm is naughty or nice?
A little bit of both. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That means he's getting coal in his stocking. And, of course, it's a holiday season, so we have to have a cheerful holiday topic. And to present that is our judge, Tom the Bomb.
Hello, Doug. How are you?
Great, great. How are you?
I am excellent.
Awesome.
So, the topic for this evening is, was Kevin McCallister a psychopath?
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Yeah, he was. And I'm going to argue on that side. This guy is a freaking lunatic. I mean, think about the things that he thought of and concocted in his head to try and murder two men. Granted, they weren't the best men. They were robbers and burglars and, you know, thieves and whatever else you want to call them. But this guy came up with a plan to not only murder, but torture. Like, literal torture and then murder if he could have got away with it. Home Alone's over really quickly if the kid just calls the cops in the beginning. Like, he knows the robbers are coming. They literally say 9 o'clock. Like, down to the T, he knows when they're coming. And literally concocts a plan to hurt these people as bad as... That's like Michael Myers shit. You know, like Michael Myers used to, like, kill animals when he was a child and all that other stuff. Kevin McCallister is a fucked up kid. He's not on a normal level. And everyone should be terrified because if something like that's running the streets, which he is because he never even got caught for all the fucking crimes he committed, you better watch out.
Wow. So you're saying this kid's a psychopath for defending his home. Oh, he could have called the cops. Maybe. But you know what? Maybe they would have got away. Maybe this kid was trying to be the hero for the whole neighborhood. You know, he takes down these criminals, which he did, knocks them out. Maybe he does kill them. But they're not going to cause any more harm to the rest of the folks in the town. Yeah, they did a lot of damage. They hurt a lot of people. They robbed a lot of people. He just did what he needed to do to survive. And what's wrong with that? I'd be proud if I was Mr. McCallister and I got home. You know, Peter looks at his kid and he says, "You know what, son, you did a great job. I taught you how to be a man." And that's what he was in that moment.
I think he gets celebrated just as much if he just calls the cops. Everyone's like, look at this 9-year-old boy who had the wherewithal, 8-year-old maybe, to just dial 911. Wow, how smart is this kid? Especially in 1990, people like he would have got a lot of props for that. Like, you called 911, saved the neighborhood. They robbed a couple other houses. This could have happened to more people. But look at our little hero over there.
How old is he in Home Alone?
I would think he's like 8, 9, something like that.
Eight.
Yeah.
He's 8 years old?
So, but he's got a fucking 35-year-old's brain because honestly,
Only 35-year-olds think of this?
Instead of calling the cops, my man lays out blueprints to friggin' torture and hurt two grown-ass men as an 8-year-old child and literally smash paint cans in their face, have them walk. Dude, he fucking lights a guy's head on fire. Tell me that's not a psychopath thing to do. I'm just saying.
Well, if you think about it, you know, Joe Pesci did open the door and it caused the trap to go off. So he kind of did it to himself. He shouldn't have been in that house. If he didn't walk into that house, you know, Illinois, I'm sure, has the same law as Florida to stand your ground. You don't enter somebody's home and not expect something to happen to you.
But that's still not a normal thing. Like, stand your ground is like you enter a home and you might get shot. I don't think any do you think any burglar walks into a house going, okay, I'm running a risk here. I might get shot, but no one thinks like I might get a staple to my dick, or I might get my head lit on fire, or I might walk on some ornaments. Like, that's some fucked up, thought out shit, like premeditated, hard as hell. Like,
but maybe that's why they steal burglar. If they knew, like, hey man, when you rob houses, the only thing you have to worry about is a gun. But if they're like, dude, these guys have flamethrowers, maybe they'll not turn to the life of crime. Maybe they'll actually really be plumbers.
Wow. All right. So when do you guys think, when did Kevin McCallister learn his methods of luring and trapping his enemies?
From his sick lunatic brother Buzz. That guy's fucked up too. He keeps the tarantula in his room and fucking feeds it maggots. Like literally, goes, I just fed it a bunch of maggots. It should be good for a few weeks. Who the fuck buys maggots and feeds it to their tarantula at like 15 years old? So tell me Kevin McCallister did not learn to be a sick individual from his sick brother.
Didn't Buzz have like dirty magazines under his bed too?
Yeah, and his girlfriend, Wolf. It's just...
Do you know the girlfriend wasn't really? That was Christopher Columbus, the director of the film, didn't want to make fun of a woman, so that's actually like his son, I think, in that photo.
Really?
It's not his son. It's just like a random guy. that
Fact
they
check.
got.
Can we fact check that?
That's the,
But what do we fact check? There is really when
Did
he said Christopher.
No,
Columbus,
I
was
know.
Like, well, I was like,
No,
what the fuck
the
is he
guy
talking
that
about?
the guy
the
that
guy's
made all
actual
those
name
movies.
is Christopher Columbus.
No, the guy that made all those
Yeah.
movies in the '90s. That was Chris Columbus.
yeah.
Well, he said Christopher Columbus.
What's his name?
No, it's Chris Columbus. Let's separate because when you say Christopher, I'm
And his production company's 1492 Production.
Wow.
That is a man. That has been proven.
Hold
I
on,
don't think it's
one
his son,
sec.
though. It's just a
I
regular
have a picture
guy.
in front of me. It says it's Buzz's girlfriend.
Wolf.
I don't know if that to me it looks like a girl.
No, it's not. It's actually a guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
He is right about that.
I'll look into it, but also while we're like in this, Macaulay Culkin's Kevin McCallister was actually 8 years old.
That's what
That's
he
what
said.
he said. I just want to make sure we were clear
yeah.
because somebody said between 8 and 10. I thought.
Yeah.
So I did. He is 8.
Okay.
Okay.
So where did he learn all this sick stuff? Just from watching HBO and Cinemax. You know, he's seen these films. He said, "How do other people protect their homes?" So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to and in school. You know, he's a second, third grader. He's learning geometry
They
at a very
taught him
young
how
age.
to trap criminals at school.
Well, not trap criminals, but I would say just like, geometry, how long the rope is from the paint can and how much it could swing.
In third grade?
Yeah.
Tom, you can't teach the sickness. You're born with it. And he was born with the sickness to be a psychopath. Absolutely. His parents don't pay attention to him. Think about the job his dad has to work to live in that house, have like 27 children, tons of family. Even the uncle was like, your dad paid for this trip. He paid for like a vacation for like 35 people. That's going to take up a lot of your time. His mom's probably just off in the clouds being rich as hell, like one of those wives that just kind of like walk around like Westfield when they have nothing to do during the day. You know what I mean? They're like, I'll just spend my husband's money, like whatever. So who does he learn from? His brother.
Buzz.
And Buzz is just as fucked up. Except Kevin takes it to a whole nother level because he gets to act this shit out in real life. And that's another definition of a psychopath. You think of it, but do you act on it? This kid did, man.
Yeah.
Staples to the dick. It's fucked up.
He had a pretty big family too. I mean, they had like 2 giant vans that came to pick all of them up when he was apparently sleeping. But forget that. Steve, do you feel being part of such a large family, he was constantly neglected and verbally abused, which led him down a dark fucking path?
Look what you did, you little jerk. That's literally one of the things that his uncle says to him during that movie. Calls him a little jerk. The guy's 8 years old. Fucking, all he wants is some cheese pizza. His brother eats it on him, then pretends to throw it up in his face. Parents treat him like shit. Go sleep in the hideaway bed with Fuller. Kid pisses himself. Mom's literally like, I don't care if you get pissed on. What type of person do you think that's gonna breed? They treat that kid like shit.
But
Jeff, what?
you got something?
Yeah, it was not the director's son. It was the art director's son. Dan Webster, who was
He posed as a girl?
as posed as a girl. As
Great.
Wow.
Talk about the emotional damage on that one. But to go back to your last question, he did, he had family. The family treated him like shit. That's true, but it doesn't mean he's a psychopath if he just defends his home. That's all he's doing. If he would have dialed 911, did you remember the cops in that movie? How dumb they were?
Yeah, they were pretty dumb.
Yeah, the old guy comes to the house and just shines the light. Yeah, I don't think anybody's here. He was there for a second. Yeah, what did he do? Have a hot piece of ass at home waiting for him? It was ridiculous. I think everybody in that community was terrible. The pizza guy was a
Didn't
nightmare.
He have like mannequins from somewhere?
He had
like, in the
Michael Jordan.
window-
He had
windows,
Michael
like-
Jordan
That's right.
on a train set going through the living room. So this guy, who's a really good cop that I should call, peers in the window, sees Michael Jordan. Do you think he would like? Oh yeah, well, was that family's last name Jordan, or were they the owner of the Bulls? No, the cop was terrible. Why would he think that the cop can't figure out? Oh man, this kid's home alone. How do you think he's gonna save the day?
None of his neighbors even seem to.
All the neighbors were on vacation. Like the whole block was on vacation. That's like because they lived in such a rich fucking neighborhood that everyone went on vacation for Christmas.
So
time.
he was the hero, and he wanted to save all the other neighbors' homes.
And all these fucking people didn't like.
He
lock
was the
up their
weird kid that
jewelry?
got off on lighting people on fire.
They didn't like lock up their valuables or like say, "Hey, like." can
Why would you
watch-"
need to? Why would you need to?
I guess he did live in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah,
It was
you
real
don't
nice
expect shit
neighborhood.
like that to go down.
Yeah.
Then
It could go down anywhere. But Tom, I'm sorry, but like, all right, you have a son.
Yep.
A couple years, he'll be 8. Would you rather him take on these 2 criminals by hurting them? Think about, first of all, the trauma. Like, you think Macaulay Culkin or Kevin McCallister at age 16 was a normal fucking kid? No fucking way. You don't want your kid to go through that. It's insane.
He's 8 years old.
Or
Why
would
are
you
we
rather
talking
just
about 16?
well, because of what I'm saying is, as he gets older, after the crimes he committed, we're not even talking about the sequel here because that shit was fucked up too. You go into being 16 years old. Do you think you have a good mentality? No, that person grows up to be a serial killer, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Or do you want your kid to call the cops and just be done with it? Hey, good job. Dial 911. Movie over.
You're speaking of the sequel here. The old guy with the shovel, did he have like an alternate like plan with all this? Like he acted like he was his friend, but really was he, I don't know, did he have any ulterior motives?
Nah, dude was actually a pretty good dude. Everyone thought he was kind of shitty, and it turns out he just wanted to salt the sidewalks. And he stepped in to be the hero and save Calvin McCallister from either A, dying or committing the act of murder himself. Sometimes you need people like that looking out for you. Plus, at the end, you got to see his granddaughter, and he waved in the snow, and it was really nice. Speaking of that wave, that's how Home Alone ends. You see that fucking Kevin McCallister smile? He's so stoked on what he did. Like,
He is that he was attempting to save the entire neighborhood. He should be stoked. You know, he was a hero for all those other houses. If he didn't do it, what if the sticky bandits in this film are wet bandits? The wet bandits in this one?
Yeah, the wet bandits.
Oh, sticky bandits.
What was
they're
his name?
sticky too. They're wet one.
They weren't Harry and Lloyd. They were, what was their names? Marv?
Marvin Harry. Wet Bandits was 1, Sticky was 2.
Yeah, so these fake plumbers, what if Kevin didn't do all this and then the neighbor with the shovel didn't help him save the day? What if he wasn't there? What if he was with his family in France?
All right, but like,
It would have been terrible. He could have robbed all the houses in the neighborhood. What if the wet bandits go into a house, they think it's empty, a lady comes down, an old woman, and they kill her?
wow.
Yeah. Kevin saved the day. He got these guys, how many houses did they rob prior to this? 2 or 3, and these are the cops you want to call to trust? They haven't figured out who did it yet.
Yeah. He had like paint cans set up on top of doors.
Yeah.
So
Not to mention in the sequel, it's not just paint cans.
Why are we talking about the sequel?
Wait. Because it's part of it. It's like it's a shared universe.
It is.
You are talking about Kevin McCallister
Being a
whole.
psychopath.
Yeah, you're not talking about just Home Alone 1. You're talking about an individual.
And he steps it up from the paint cans with an iron fucking pipe.
Well, the question is was Kevin McCallister a psychopath?
Yes.
So both movies is let's treat it as one here.
Credit card fraud in the second movie.
But
too,
wait. Would Donald Trump approve of him throwing a rock through the window at FAO Schwartz?
Well, he would totally approve it because Trump probably wouldn't pay the bill. That's his whole MO. And again, Donald Trump in that movie saw a kid and didn't like say, "Hey, where's your parents?" He just like looked at him. He's like, "Okay, kid."
Wasn't there a girl in the store too that like kind of followed him around or something?
Yeah.
Another Christmas in the trenches, and literally throws the brick through the fucking window. Again, he had the second chance to just call the cops. Literally saw them robbing the store. He goes, "Nah, let's bring them through the funhouse of fucked up shit." And literally just lights a rope on fire. Like literally has him climb down a rope, lights it on fire. That's insane. Like who does that?
He had that little pen that like recorded everything, right?
Yeah, and then he lights the guy's head on fire again. And he goes, "Oh, I see a toilet. Dump like fucking gasoline in there and shit." Like,
Wow.
Kevin McCallister might be Michael Myers. I'm just saying.
All right, but like they always flash back and forth to like the parents. Like once they found out, they forgot him, and they're like, "How do we? I can't believe I lost my son. I left him at home. Like who does that?" And then like someone tries to reassure the mom, like, "Oh, it's okay. Things like this happen. That shit don't happen." Like, what? Like, don't you think the mother should have done something at some point in his life to influence him a little better?
Of course, but unfortunately, and this is where it plays in, it's not his fault that his parents were shitty. But it's their fault that he became a fucking neurotic psychopath.
Okay. All right. Closing argument.
He's not a psychopath. He was defending his home. He was defending his honor. He was making sure that the neighborhood was safe. He was the one that was left. All the other rich folks, and including his family, went on vacation. He happened to not be in the van. He overslept. So he was the one that was there to save everyone. The cops already proved time and time again throughout that film and all the films that they're stupid. They didn't even realize the kid was home alone. They thought Michael Jordan was just hanging out at that house. So he just did what he had to do. Was it excessive? Maybe, but that doesn't make you a psychopath. Just making sure, he thought just by not calling the cops and taking care of the problem on his own, maybe these guys would be like, you know what, we shouldn't be criminals anymore. If we can't beat a kid that's 8 years old, maybe we should give up. But they didn't, and he punished them again.
Twice.
The cops weren't that ignorant in the movie. They weren't. They knocked on the door. If you remember at the time when they knocked on the door, he was hiding under the bed, like literally petrified, couldn't come to the door because he thought the robbers were there. So he's hiding under the bed, doesn't want to come to the door, has no idea it's the cops. He thinks it's the old man with the mummies in his fucking trash can because his freak brother told him that the guy salts the sidewalk with dead bodies. That's something they say at the beginning of the movie. This guy, the body turns to mummies, the mummy turns to salt, and then he fucking throws it on the sidewalk. Imagine being an 8-year-old kid thinking that there was a weird guy in your neighborhood literally dumping dead bodies all over the sidewalk. But that's the kind of environment he grew up in. And because of that, he became a psychopath. And when he had the opportunity to lay it down and call the cops and just be done with it, that movie's 10 minutes without that. He chooses to torture and try and murder 2 guys. Again, not the best guys, but I think he's a little more fucked up than they are. And he does it twice. You're right. Like, again, staples, burning, paint cans, burning the hand, Christmas ornaments, tool shed in the second movie, smash their faces in. Like, not good. Not a good trait you want to see in a kid. And
He got a little more experience than the second one.
that's what I'm saying. Because that's what these guys do. Once they live it out once, they step it up. They step their game up each time. If we live in the world where Kevin McCallister exists, he's definitely doing 30 to life right now. So, psychopath. That's what I'm going with.
I think those guys, the robbers, were obviously zombies. All of that. I think you take a paint can to that, you'd be dead. A lot of those things, these people would be dead. And they saw the kid again and they wanted more?
Well, I think they were pretty hurt. They were like laying on the ground.
Yeah, but I mean they'd be dead. Like the force of a paint can coming that fast, that's a concussion. Those people will be
Depends
like
on
vomiting.
How much paint was in that can?
10 gallons.
All right. Well, you guys have put up a pretty good arguments here. I mean, you're saying, Steve, you're saying that his brother, who's a complete psycho himself, just terrorized him, taught him all some weird shit. Told him there's this crazy guy that fucking kills people and walks around with a shovel. And, his parents just neglected him and everything. But on the other hand, Doug, you're saying, if it wasn't for him, the cops were kind of like, they didn't do shit. They didn't look over the neighborhood as well. You kind of needed like a neighborhood watch person. And he was kind of that guy, even though he was an 8-year-old boy who just went around tricking people into doing shit, But I can only imagine what this kid would have accomplished if he had Amazon. The shit he would have rigged up and everything. But I gotta say, Kevin McCallister is a complete psychopath.
Hell yeah, he is. And everyone should fear from him.
I mean, what to say?
He looks normal today.
Really?
His brother's a good actor.
Dude, you didn't even bring up the pigeon lady. He recruited a pigeon lady in New York, dude.
He did. And I thought about that.
Lady she had them at those poor bandits attacked by birds.
That is pretty crazy.
Well, she was definitely a psychopath.
And he hung out in some weird, creepy attic and watched the opera with her.
But they never. Did he have any friends? I don't remember.
Those were his friends. The creepy shovel guy and the pigeon lady. Those are his fucking friends.
Well, I guess I'd be a psycho too if that was it. So, Shram, how do you feel?
Amazing.
This sucks, but he was a little creepy. He did have a terrible family. He got left twice.
Who does that?
Like, how does that happen? Anyways, happy holidays. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to review, rate, and share our podcast. And follow us on Twitter at We Like to Debate and on Instagram at It's Debatable Pod. Good night.
You guys give up or you're thirsty for more?
Thanks, Kevin. And if you're thirsty for more, go back in our library. Listen to our previous episodes. We recently talked about, was Doc Brown a bad influence on Marty McFly? If you were going on a road trip, who would be the better co-pilot? Jesus versus Satan? Also, are wedding crashers criminals? Honestly, are they? So we talk about a lot of crazy topics, so go back, listen to all those, tell your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Thanks.